Welcome back to History of Simple Things. Today's topic comes from one of our viewers, BP Yang Yang 2153. Thanks for the suggestion. You asked, why does scratching relieve an itch? If you've ever been bitten by a mosquito, brushed against a plant, or felt an annoying itch that just wouldn't go away, you've probably experienced this firsthand. Even though you've likely heard that scratching only makes it worse, it still feels impossible to resist, and strangely satisfying for a moment. So why does scratching seem to make it better, even if only temporarily? Stick around as we uncover the fascinating science behind why scratching relieves an itch, right here on History of Simple Things. For thousands of years, people didn't think of itching as its own sensation. Ancient Greek physicians, including Hippocrates, believed itching was simply a mild form of pain caused by an imbalance in the body. Later, during the Middle Ages and well into the 1800s, doctors still struggled to explain why skin could itch without being injured. It wasn't until the 20th century that scientists discovered itch and pain travel along different nerve pathways, although they interact closely inside the nervous system. Modern neuroscience has since revealed that itching is a unique sensory system with its own specialized nerve cells, receptors, and brain circuits, giving researchers a much clearer picture of why we instinctively scratch. An itch begins when specialized nerve endings near the surface of your skin detect something irritating. That could be a mosquito's saliva, an allergic reaction, dry skin, certain chemicals, or even tiny fibers from clothing. These nerve endings send electrical signals through dedicated itch-sensitive nerve fibers to your spinal cord and eventually to your brain. One of the most common chemicals involved is histamine, which your immune system releases during allergic reactions and insect bites. Histamine activates itch receptors, telling your brain that something on your skin needs attention. Interestingly, not all itches involve histamine. Conditions like eczema, kidney disease, or certain medications can trigger entirely different chemical pathways, which explains why antihistamines don't always stop every itch. Here's where things get interesting. Scratching creates a small amount of mild pain. While that may sound unpleasant, your nervous system gives pain signals a higher priority than itch signals. When you scratch, the pain signals partially interrupt the itch messages traveling through your spinal cord. It's a bit like turning up the volume on one radio station until you can barely hear another. At the same time, your brain releases chemicals such as serotonin and dopamine, which can create a brief feeling of relief or satisfaction. Researchers have even found that scratching activates areas of the brain associated with reward, making the action surprisingly pleasurable despite the temporary damage it causes to the skin. That's why stopping yourself from scratching can feel much harder than you'd expect. Unfortunately, scratching doesn't remove the original cause of the itch. The mosquito bite, dry skin, or allergic reaction is still there. As the mild pain fades away, the itch-producing chemicals continue stimulating the nerve endings, and the itching returns. In fact, excessive scratching can make things worse. Repeated scratching damages the skin barrier, allowing more irritation and inflammation to develop. Your immune system responds by releasing additional chemicals, which can trigger even more itching. Doctors call this the itch-scratch cycle, and it can become especially troublesome for people with chronic skin conditions like eczema or psoriasis. Not every itch starts in the skin. Sometimes the brain itself can generate the sensation. Have you ever started feeling itchy after seeing someone else scratch? That's not your imagination. Studies suggest the brain can produce contagious itching, much like contagious yawning. Simply watching someone scratch or even talking about insects can activate brain regions involved in itch processing. Stress and anxiety can also amplify itching. During stressful situations, the brain becomes more sensitive to incoming sensory signals, making minor skin irritation feel much stronger than it otherwise would. This explains why many people notice their eczema or chronic itching becomes worse during emotionally difficult periods. Although scratching provides quick relief, it's rarely the healthiest solution. Cooling the skin with a cold compress can slow the activity of itch-sensitive nerve endings. Moisturizers help repair dry skin, reducing one of the most common causes of itching. For allergic reactions, antihistamines may help if histamine is responsible, while medicated creams prescribed by doctors can calm inflammation in more persistent cases. Sometimes gently pressing, tapping, or rubbing the itchy area can provide relief without damaging the skin. These methods stimulate touch receptors instead of creating pain, helping reduce itch signals while avoiding the harmful effects of repeated scratching. Scratching relieves an itch because it temporarily changes the conversation happening inside your nervous system. By creating mild pain, it interrupts itch signals and activates reward centers in the brain, giving you a short-lived sense of relief. It's an incredibly clever survival mechanism, encouraging us to remove insects, parasites, or harmful substances from our skin before they cause greater problems. The catch is that today's most common itches often aren't caused by something you can simply scratch away. Once the temporary relief fades, the original trigger remains, and the cycle begins again. So the next time you catch yourself scratching a mosquito bite or a patch of dry skin, you'll know your brain is doing exactly what evolution designed it to do, even if modern medicine recommends reaching for moisturizer or a cold pack instead. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.